Hey, how y'all doing? This is Mongo Slade, and today we're going to talk about the Firefly Funhouse field trip. So, Bray Wyatt leaves the Funhouse. He brings him and his friends come out of the Funhouse, and now they're populating the performance center. Basically, the puppets were behind the barricade, and Orton, I mean, not Orton, but Wyatt does some talking. He's wearing a Christmas sweater, like a Fiend Christmas sweater, which for some reason doesn't feel out of place on. I know it's incredible, like crazy marketing, merchandising type of stuff, but it didn't feel out of place. It felt like something Bray Wyatt would wear. That's what it felt like. But so Bray, in a nutshell, Bray, apologized to Randy Orton for the Fiend interrupting their fun, and he wanted to keep their fun going, because there's not going to be any time for fun at TLC, and he's not certain what's going to be left of Orton after TLC. So he wants Orton to have fun with him tonight, to finish what they were doing last week, finish it this week. And he says something like he's going to start doing he started doing stand-up comedy, like really bad stand-up comedy. It was intentionally bad, by the way. So it was like intentionally horrible comedy. Like, what's the best way to measure a viper? In inches, because they don't have feet. Like, it was like, and he was like cackling, like howling in laughter at these really bad jokes. And a lot of people I saw, were comparing it to that scene in Joker, where Joker was standing in front of the crowd doing all these really bad jokes and laughing at himself, and other people were just kind of like, well, he was imagining that other people was laughing with him, but he wasn't funny. In this situation, of course, there's no crowd, so it's just Wyatt and the puppets laughing, So, but it served its purpose. I hated it though, because I hate when you do cringe shit, and this was cringy. And I hate when they push Wyatt to doing cringe stuff like this. Like, I liked when he was talking about, how he not sure what's going to be left of Randy Orton. That stuff was good. When he started doing the cringe, bad comedy on purpose, I was kind of like, I get it. I get it that he's not taking this seriously. That, it's a joke to him. It's all a game. But I don't think there's any reason ever to do like bad comedy on TV on purpose. Like, that's dumb. That's dumb, 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 dumb. So Randy Orton appears on the Titantron, says that he promised Randy or Bray Wyatt that he was going to stare the devil in the eyes and tell him that he's going to meet the most ruthless son of a bitch of all time and all that type of stuff. He said he didn't get it. He didn't expect that the Fiend would give him the chance. So he was taken by surprise. He was outmaneuvered by the Fiend the previous week, but not this week. This week he's got the Fiend's number, and he says, Bray Wyatt, you like to play games? Let's play again. Let's play hide and seek. So Bray, being Bray, he giggles a lot. He says, okay, he wants to play hide and seek. Okay, we'll play hide and seek. And so the rest of the night is Bray Wyatt involved with various other wrestlers, mainly silly people like Matt Riddle and R-Truth, and some things that were actually pretty interesting. So Matt Riddle, as Bray Wyatt is going through the Performance Center looking for Randy Orton because they're playing hide and seek, he runs into Matt Riddle. He asks Matt Riddle if he's ever seen Randy Orton, and he says, "Bro, I haven't seen Randy." And then he pitches to Bray that he should, for the Funhouse, pronouns, which I have no idea what that was even supposed to mean. And Bray very politely turned it down. Very politely. He said, "No, thank you." Now, a lot of people are annoyed by Riddle, but I think a lot of those people are annoyed by him personally. I find Riddle, I think that they really are pushing the whole Riddle bro thing. They're pushing the hell out of it. But don't be surprised. Do not be surprised at all if you see bro nuts on WWEshop.com. Remember Bootios and how people thought that stuff is stupid. It's so dumb. And then they started selling Bootios. They're going to start selling bro nuts. They mention it every week now. Bro nuts are mentioned every single week. They're mentioned every week now. They're going to sell bro nuts. on WWE.com. And guess what? People will buy them because that's just kind of how it is. So you can make fun of Matt Riddle right now and say that he's doing stupid shit, but when they start selling bro nuts and people start buying them, it's going to be a completely different ball game. Because that's going to be his opportunity. Look, how do you merchandise Matt Riddle? You know, that's the question. You can sell T-shirts, sure, but they like to try to sell unique objects. WWE always tries to make you sell. I'm always trying to sell you these unique objects. I'm gonna do an aside on these unique objects, like the craziest shit that WWE has tried to sell people. Maybe that's a different video. I should just do a different video on that. Yeah, I think I'll just do a different video on the most wild shit WWE has tried to sell people. But I'm guaranteeing you Bronets is going to be on that list. Before WrestleMania, there will be Bronets. I guarantee it. Anyway, so as Bray Wyatt says no thank you, very politely, and walks away, Ramblin' Rabbit shows up. So Ramblin' Rabbit, like, hey, what's up, dude? So Matt Riddle says that Ramblin' Rabbit reminds him of his pet rabbit, whom he calls Skipper. And then he looks at the rabbit and says that you remind me of Baby Yoda. I'm going to call you Baby Broda. And gives him a carrot. Like, where did the carrot come from? I don't know. Where did the cue cards for pronouns come from? I don't know. He must have like a pocket universe right next to him, like the Roadrunner or something, where he just draws like a hole in the wall, reaches in it, pulls stuff out. Because I didn't see any of that stuff anywhere. And well, he might have had it in his pocket. I think he was wearing his was he wearing his jacket? He might have had it in his jacket pocket. But I have no idea where the placards came from. You know, I have no idea. So then later in the show, R-Truth is talking to Huskus the Pig Boy. And I don't even know what R-Truth was talking about, but but when Bray Wyatt approached and R-Truth said, he said, I'm so sorry, y'all. Okay. So Wyatt tells Huskus, like, what did I tell you about talking to strangers? And then R-Truth says, yeah, you should listen to your father. He's like, this thing is your son, isn't it? Oh, God, man. That shit took me off. It took me completely by surprise. I was like, oh my goodness, bro. Like, they really hammed this shit up. Look, you know what's so great about this though, is that it was cringe, legitimately funny, and then it got dark. Like all of this, like I haven't even gotten to the dark part yet. So after Bray has his jokes with R-Truth, he sees the chair, the Wyatt chair, in a dark room. It was a dark room. It was literally bait. Dark room, spotlight, everything. Wyatt comes in. He sees the chair. He's mesmerized by the chair. He's like, oh my God, this chair. I miss this chair. He sits in the chair. And it's kind of like at ease for a moment. Like, and then Randy Orton attacked him from behind. And then Randy Orton beat his ass. Beat him up. Then Randy Orton shoves him into a trunk. A gigantic trunk. And then Randy Orton lights the trunk on fire. I love Pyromaniac Randy Orton. Randy Orton's always burning shit. I can see what culture now. Top 5 things Randy Orton has burned. Because he burns shit all the time. He always burns shit. I love Pyromaniac Randy Orton. And he's gloating. He set the Fiend. He set Bray Wyatt on fire. He locked him in this trunk. Set it on fire. Then the Fiend bursts from the goddamn box. Mandible claw on Orton. Unscathed. Completely unscathed. Now we know that the Fiend is, pure evil. Or, he's a horror movie villain. He cannot be harmed, even by fire. Therefore, Randy Orton's ass is in trouble at TLC. This should main event the show. Okay, I'm dead serious, man. I know how people feel about the titles. Roman's going to be on the show. Orton's going to be on the show. I get how people feel about these titles, but As far as like, we should really just put, if the Fiend is the top draw, which I believe he is, and probably next to Roman Reigns, and probably the Fiend and Roman are probably 1 and 2 as far as drawing power. Now, if you talk about selling weird shit, the Fiend probably sells more weird shit than anybody. And I'm talking like those ugly Fiend titles that people were buying. I'm pretty sure the Fiend has all kind of weird shit that people buy. He really should, I'm okay with if he closes the show. And I know they probably won't. They probably won't do it. They probably have Fiend and Orton go on 5th or something stupid like that. But this feud has been great. It's had a little bit of everything. Like I said, this just in this particular episode of Raw, you had the cringy stand-up comedy, a really good promo from Orton, about being outmaneuvered by the Fiend and how he's trying to outsmart the Fiend, and he likes, that Bray Wyatt likes to play games. He wants to play a game with them. You also had a really good promo from Wyatt, who was saying like, "Hey, I'm sorry for having last week. I didn't plan for the Fiend to show up, but this time we're gonna play again, and we're gonna have some fun." I loved the backstage segments with the puppets and the idiot wrestlers that they was talking to. All that stuff was great. And then they ended it with something that was legitimately scary. Like, legitimately, you had something that was really dark. Like, they honestly could have ended Raw with that segment. Like, imagine how dope it would have been if Raw would have ended with Bray Wyatt in a box on fire. And that's how Raw goes off the air. So we don't even know if the Fiend or if Bray Wyatt is going to be at TLC. Like, that would have been badass. Especially considering what they did with the women's division, which we'll get into in a different video, where they took Lana out of the match. It would have been a thing where they said, "Hey, we took Lana out of her match. Maybe, just maybe, we might have to take Bray Wyatt out of his match too, because he got burned alive in a box. So he can't wrestle. Obviously, he's not going to be able to wrestle. We set him on fire." It would have been great, but it was probably equally great that the Fiend burst from the goddamn box and clawed Randy Orton. And, this was the best stuff about Raw to me. I legitimately really, really love Bray Wyatt. I think that his creativity is on a completely different level. His psychology is also. It's a completely different presentation. Like, you can't even really compare him to Foley or Undertaker anymore, or even Kane or anything like that. He's completely different. Like, he has a mixture of all three, where he has Foley's ability to create emotion. That was Foley's strength, is that he could cut these promos that could make you engage to whatever personality he's using. He was able to engage. Wyatt can do that. Undertaker had the intimidation. He had the presence. Wyatt has that. Kane had the presentation. The unstoppable monster, the flat affect, the nothing hurts me. Wyatt has that. He has all of the best parts of all three of these guys. The difference is he does not work like any of them. I think he's, I'm not going to get into the debate. We already know he's no Undertaker. He's no Kane either. When Kane was in his prime, he's no Kane. He's on par with Foley though. And just because I don't really think I think Foley was more self-destructive. I couldn't tell you if Foley actually wrestled a match. He just threw his body around. He just took a beating all the time. So, but Wyatt has legitimately the best parts of all of these guys. And everything is working. When the Fiend stuff is clicking, it's clicking at a high level. Right opponent, right storyline, right stuff. It's the best stuff on TV. It's legit very good. Now, is it better than the Roman Reigns stuff? Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's better than the Roman Reigns stuff. Because the Roman Reigns stuff has so many layers to it. But It is legitimate. If it's not better than the Roman Reigns stuff, it's not far behind. The Fiend stuff is really good. It's really good shit because there's so many callbacks to other things that happened, especially in this storyline where you had that Randy Orton knows the inner workings of Bray Wyatt, so he knew to bring the chair. You know, the chair is something that he can use. But then they did all of this stuff, and they still have more to do because there was no Alexa Bliss again. For the second week in a row, there was no Alexa Bliss. So that means that they're probably going to debut Monster Girl Alexa Bliss at TLC, which is another reason why I think they should main event the show, is leave people with that lasting impression of whatever new version of Alexa Bliss is going to be coming out. Leave people with that on their mind. You know, I think that's how you should end the show, by bringing out the new version of Alexa Bliss. If that's what it's going to be. If she's just going to come out and be big comfy couch girl again, I don't know. Or we could just not have her, bring her back on Raw or something like that. That might be fine too. But there's so many layers to this storyline. There's so much to do, and it's really good. It's really fun stuff. And you know what? It's not just Wyatt either, because it's Randy Orton too. Like, Randy Orton is carrying his weight on this. Like, yes, Wyatt is doing most of the work because he has to do most of the work, but Orton is doing his thing too. Orton is doing a lot of callbacks as well. He's bringing up, his microphone skills has really improved this year. This is probably the best year on the mic Randy Orton has ever had, as far as promos are concerned, because there's no audience to interrupt him. So he can really get his stuff in. And he's been really good all year. Randy Orton's been a heartless bastard, saying really evil things, doing really evil things to people. He just tried to burn a man. He just tried to set a man on fire, which is a recurring thing with Randy Orton. I might have to sit down and steal the What Culture idea, even though I'm the one who gave What Culture the idea to. I guarantee you they're going to do a top 5 things Randy Orton has burned, if it's been 5 things that he's burned. But I love Pyromaniac Orton. I love Badass Monster, Fiend. This is really entertaining stuff. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Help alternative wrestling media, less What Culture, more 3 count commentaries. I'll talk to you guys later, and thank you guys for listening.